Oh, where do I begin? I have my sink, since I got the plumbing fixed here, the water turned back on. My sink, the spray nozzle on my sink here, which is where I wash my hands before I go home, because all of our trim at the house is white. And my wife just hates it when I come home and put dirty fingerprints on stuff. So I try to wash my hands here before I go home, and then rewash them when I go home, just to get the next little bit of grit and grime off. The sprayer broke. So when I turn the faucet on, the water comes out the sprayer. So I got to replace that, and I'm going to do it today. I've been putting it off because I had to lay on my back under the sink, and it's just very hard to do, hard to get back up. So anyway, I'm going to sand these that I'm working on, the BC Special, and this, I'm going to sand them up to 220. This is done up to 220. So I'm going to get this up to 220. And then I have 4 of these blanks that I just put my little swoopy swoop on. These are the BC Special with a hidden tang. I only made a couple of them, and I stopped making them because I'm just not good at it. I mean, I have sold, the ones that I've sold were okay, but I wasn't 100% satisfied with them. The hidden tang is definitely a whole nother level of skill that I really need to work on. So I've got 4 of these, and I'm gonna put the swoopy swoop on all of them and get them all sanded up. And see, they've been sitting around for a very long time, and the humidity out here is so bad that everything gets rusty. And somebody suggested that I put Dykem on them, and which is true, because the side that has Dykem has no rust. So I just may do that. Dykem is expensive, but so is sandpaper, getting all the rust off. And this did have rust on it, and you can see it has left some pits. I mean, I'll have to do a whole lot more sand in here. This side had the Dykem on it, and anyway, it's just going to take a whole bunch of sanding. And these I like to mirror polish because they just look so good, being a hidden tang with a nice shiny brass guard and a mirror polished on the blade. So nobody has asked for these. It's just something I'm going to do as I have time. And I do have an order for 4 sharp fingers, but it's a Christmas order, so I got plenty of time to do that. And this is my last sharp finger that I have cut out. My new sharp fingers are going to have a slightly altered curve in here. It's going to be a little thinner, and I can't do that to this one or the other one that I'm working on, because I've already drilled the holes. And I'm still thinking about just how thin I want to make it up here, because that would make this like the weak link, These sharp fingers, the tip is going to be a weak link, like if you were trying to pry open a paint can or something. But also, if you were to pry on it or stick it in something and twist it, it could break here if it gets too thin. So I got to keep that in mind when I thin this out. So what I might do is make it a tiny bit thicker on this end, a tiny bit thinner in here, and that way it will have the arc that I'm looking for, the sexy little arc, the sexy little curve. And I like this, but it's just not 100% right. Anyway, if anybody wants that, let me know. I got one, started and ready to be turned into a knife, and the bevel's ground. And I don't know why it suddenly stopped. I don't know what happened. The whole screen went black and just stopped recording. So where was I? Well, anyway, yeah, I'm in my off time. I'm going to be working on these. They're not spoken for, and I really don't want them spoken for till I get them finished, because they may come out like crap, I'm going to use these 4 to try and get good at hidden tangs and fitting the guards, because that's really, I mean, it's really, really difficult to make them look not sloppy and like they were form fitted. And it's a lot of file and handwork and fitting just a little at a time. So, I want to get better at that end of it, making hidden tangs, and I want to use those 4 to get better. So my wife said she doesn't like to come out here because it's so dusty. So I've cleaned all my benches, vacuumed everything off, everything's shiny. I wiped everything off. Everything's immaculate except my floor. So before I go to work on my kitchen sink, I'm gonna get my mop bucket out and mop this floor up nice and get it all shiny and spick and spam out here, so my wife will come out here and rest in the air conditioning with me while she's taking a break from doing yard work. Right now she's on front porch duty. I can see her up there. So I'm gonna finish sanding this up to 220, mop my floors, and then go work on my sink. All right, we're up to 200 on both of them. The next grit is 320. Wait a minute, what did I just do? Did I just take 220 out? I did. I just put 220 away and took 220 back out. All right, 320. I'll mop my floor and then work on my kitchen, and I'll probably be back this afternoon. I got some good news to tell my wife about the Harley. And anyway, it's good news. I'm not gonna have to. Oh yeah, I'm giving the Harley back. And most people wouldn't tell this, but I am. I bought the John Deere because I can't walk very far. I can't carry stuff, and I can't drive the motorcycle because I can't pull the clutch, and it's only getting worse. I can barely lift it up off its kickstand right now. I've lost so much muscle and strength, and I can't even pull the clutch in. So I got something I have to have, and I'm getting rid of something I can't keep. So I just spoke to the voluntary repossession people. Voluntary surrender is what I call it. And she assured me that, you know, it's not going to be that big a deal. They'll take the bike, they'll auction it off. I'll owe them probably $7,000 or $8,000 after the sale, the auction, and they'll hound me for it for about a year, and after that they'll write it off. And I said, well, what about my house? You know, are they likely to put a lien on my house? She goes, no. The only time, she said, I've been with Harley 11 years, and the only time I've seen them put a lien on somebody's house is if they don't get their collateral back, the motorcycle. So, and she said, looking at your credit, she said this probably won't be that huge of a ding on your credit because my credit is already high. It's like a 830, 829, and it'll probably bring it down to about a 720, 740. So I'll still have some credit. And that's a relief because, you know, I buy my steel on credit, and then I sell knives and pay for my steel. I mean, you know, I do a lot of stuff on credit. So I know most folks don't tell this kind of personal financial stuff, but, you know, I've had nothing but medical setbacks and medical bills and complications and storms and tornadoes, and Jesus, it's just gone on and on and on. And I feel so relieved about this that I just felt like telling you. So I may not upload this because I may think better of it later on, because, you know, voluntary surrender is it's not the best way. To me, it's the only way out from underneath this bike. I have tried to refinance it. I've tried to get a better loan at a lower interest rate and longer terms. I've tried to get my personal bank to refinance it. They wouldn't talk to me. Harley wouldn't help. I've tried the Harley-Davidson rider-to-rider program where you can sell your bike to another rider through Harley-Davidson, and they just qualify for a loan. I've tried it all, and I have exhausted every possible other alternative besides voluntary surrender, and there's just no way around it. I screwed up getting this bike. I knew it like within a week of buying it. I knew I screwed up because the math and my income just doesn't work. And why I didn't sit down before I signed that paperwork and add things up and think it through. I'm telling you what happened is the shiny got a hold of my brain and made me stop thinking. And I couldn't do math again until I got home about, you know, several days later and looked at the contract and the payments and thought to myself, oh my God, have I screwed up? So anyway, life is going to be okay. They're not going to put a lien on our house, and they're likely to just hound me for a year for the $7,000 or $8,000 and write it off. And the lady, when I told her what had happened, what all had transpired, and what brought me to this point, she had a whole different tune. She said, well, I can see where you have no other alternative. So I'm not supposed to tell you this, but, and then she told me what is likely to happen. And in almost all cases, this is how it goes. And they won't put a lien on your house simply because they've got their collateral back. And in the past, they have put liens on people's houses when they've taken off with a motorcycle and just stopped making payments. So anyway, I feel a whole lot better about that. And Monday, we're going to start buying fence. We're going to start, let me see if it'll focus. You see where that gate is right there? I'm taking that gate down and I'm attaching to that pole where the gate is hinged on, and I'm coming this way, and there's a sewer gate down here. We're gonna put a gate down here so the city can get to the sewer, and we're gonna put that gate that's there now on this property behind my shop here. See this fence here? We're gonna put a swinging gate between, see where it ends right there? There's about 12 feet between the end of that pole there, where the fence will go past it, perpendicular to that. And we'll put a gate there so we can get between the two properties without having to come all the way up here to this gate. And then we'll put that swinging gate that's down there on this property so Charlie can get back there and weed eat and all that. So, boy, do we have projects. I still got to do air conditioners, but I'm not going to do air conditioners until I get these two knives made. Because, you know, bird in the hand. And this person, I do not like getting paid in advance for a knife because I just feel bad having somebody's money. And let's say tomorrow I just don't feel like coming out here and working on a knife. Well, I feel bad that I have somebody's money and I'm not out here working on their knife. And this person offered to pay me up front, and then, no, let me make the knife. And what I also like to do is send a picture of it finished. Make sure you like it before you pay for it, because if you don't like it and you don't want it, I'd rather, you know, put it up for sale than sell a knife to someone who they're not happy with it, because this is still a hobby, you know. It's not a business, it's just a hobby, and I want everyone to be happy with what they bought, and I want to be happy with what I sold. I think you know what I mean. I just want to keep feeling good about this, and I don't ever want it to be unpleasant. One time, a guy got a knife he wasn't happy with, and I immediately offered him the money back, and man, it was just this huge bit of drama. And rather than wanting the money back, he started a YouTube channel and started, you know, badmouthing my knives, and I still think about how bizarre that whole thing was. You know, instead of just saying he wasn't happy with the knife, I offer a money back guarantee. If you don't like it, send it back. I'll give you your money back, because it's a hobby. And that guy, I don't know if anybody remembers that, but that was the one very bizarre encounter with a human. I had no experience prior with dealing with somebody that was that bizarre. They're that odd that they would rather have drama than their money back. I just never got it. And to this day, he's never wanted his money back. And I still, to this day, I would give him, even though he caused all that trouble, I would still give him his money back. And he can keep the knife. And that was actually what I told him afterwards. Look, I won't go back into it. I offered him his money back. He could just keep the knife or throw it away or do whatever with it. And he still didn't want the money back. So I just never got it. I never understood what his deal was. All right, I'm going to mop my floor and get to work on the kitchen. I'm going to tell you a real quick story about how sometimes doing something nice is like a domino effect. I just went to the market to get a lottery ticket, because I tell you, a lottery ticket would... Anyway, it's nice to spend $1 and dream about what you do with 100,000 or whatever, you know. Yes, I don't have my seatbelt on. So I parked out in the parking lot a ways, and there was this old man who had just finished loading his groceries into his car. So I was walking past him, and I said, I'll take that back for you, that cart, you know, the buggy. And he goes, oh, thank you. And I said, no problem, you're welcome. I'm headed that way. It'll take me but 2 extra calories to push this buggy back to the cart corral, which is beside the store. So I'm almost, halfway across the parking lot with the buggy. Now, I helped out a guy that was clearly, 80 or 85. He was a really old fella. Sorry, 80, 85-year-old people. And then a young guy comes up and says, sir, I'll take that for you. I said, okay, thank you. So I helped out an old man, and some young guy come up and helped out an old man. It's just kind of, I got a chuckle out of it. It's just funny how sometimes, sometimes life gets you down and you think everybody's a dick. And all it takes is, a little bit of human kindness, and you kind of forget about how bad the world seems to be sometimes, and it really isn't. And just, for some reason, we seem to see more of the bad people, and you seem to remember more of the bad people. It's just like cops, you get pulled over 10 times, and 9 of the cops are decent, good, honest, honorable men, and you get that one dickhead that you remember for the rest of your freaking life, and he's the one you think about when you think about cops. And it's just not true, but you can't help it. It's human nature, and that's just sort of like, people, the world. Most people are decent folks, and occasionally you run across a dickhead, and he's the person you remember, and it sours you for the rest of the day sometimes. And all it takes is a kind gesture, like, what I did, and then what some young guy did for me. Okay, I'm home. As soon as I get pulled in the driveway, I'm gonna tell you what's going on with my sink sprayer. It's not good. And all the way home, I've had, boy, this road is just unbelievable. All the way home, I've had second thoughts, and I think I'm gonna not even open this package up, and I'm gonna do some redneck engineering. So I'm almost stopped. I'll show you what I got. First of all, I spent $52. And, I didn't look at prices. I just got what I thought I needed. And I'm going to show you. I'll park in the shade. Hold on. Somebody's calling me. Man, that was quick. That phone call was somebody coming to get my bike on Tuesday. Okay, so let me show you the weird end. Put it up. This is the end. Okay, this is the end where the sprayer nozzle goes on. I've never seen nothing like this. And it won't stick in. It won't stay hooked in the sprayer nozzle. As soon as you turn the faucet on, it pops the sprayer nozzle off. And this is some weird ass connection that goes. It took me a little while to figure out how to get it undone. And there's like a clamp that goes over here, and you slide that clamp out, and you pull this out of the little socket. And I went to Lowe's, and I found nothing that looks like this. So I bought this. It's got a whole bunch of different little fittings and connections, and I was hoping maybe I could find something in here to make it work. And then the sprayer nozzle that I have won't fit any of this, so I bought a sprayer nozzle, and between these two, that's $52. And I think what I'm going to do is cut this off and stick me a bolt in there and put a bunch of clamps on it, because I don't have to have a sprayer. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not even going to open these up. $52 is just not worth having a sprayer. I mean, yeah, I can redneck engineer this real quick. Anyway, I'm going to go in and eat me some ribs and then go back to my knife shop. Okay. Before I do any rednecking, engineering to it, I'm going to take this apart and see why this won't stay snapped into here. And so there's some kind of washer. Okay, let's see. These little fingers are supposed to grab this around here. Okay, that's not loose. And I have no idea what the heck that is. Is that part of that? Maybe that's the thing. No, it doesn't look broken. You know what? I think that little thing is supposed to hold that in. I believe that little thing is supposed to, yeah, I think that's what happened. I don't know if you can see that, but I think this thing broke. This looks ragged, and the back side of this looks ragged, and that little thing is what holds it in these fingers. So I think that's what the deal is. So if there's really, even if I fix that, I would never trust it. So yeah. So I'm gonna cut this. Let's see here. What do I cut it with? So on with the redneck engineering. And then I can see what kind of bolt I need for the inside of this. Boy, that's tough. Huh. Good Lord. Alrighty, let me go dig around and see what I got that might fit that, and get some clamps, and I will put this thing back together. Everything here is going into garbage, and I'll be back when I find the right bolt. Okay, I don't have my tripod or my camera holder out here, so here's what I got: a couple of clamps, a bolt, some clear silicone. I'm going to fill them threads up with silicone. I'm going to heat the end of this up with a heat gun, and with that pair of pliers, shove that bolt in here and clamp them clamps down, and I believe we will have redneck success. We'll see you in a minute. We have achieved redneck engineering perfection. I believe I got good squeezage on them clamps, and a little bit of seepage on that silicone. So let's go plug it in and see. All right, hold your breath. All right, we have no leakage. Okay, now I can wash my hands before I go home. And when I go back to Lowe's, you better believe I'll be getting my $52 back. Let's go sand some knives. So this is the end of the video. I realized that it was going to be a long video. So I'm going to sit out here and sand. It's probably about 1 in the afternoon. And I'm going to get these. Let's see, that's 320. I'm just going to sand till I don't feel like sanding. Wouldn't it be nice if I could get 400 and 600 in here too? That's got to go to at least 800 to get polished. And this 600, and then heat treat and temper, and then clean it up with 600, and then satin finish with 800. So I'm getting close on this one. And this one, probably most of tomorrow, I'll be finishing sanding this, and then buffing it, and then heat treating it, tempering it, cleaning it up, buffing it again, putting handles on. So I still got a long way to go on this one, and not quite as long to go. The only thing I'm not going to be doing on this is buffing. So this is the end of the video, and Sunday's video is just me talking. I'm not even going to call it a rant. It's just my opinion on minimum wage, which I've already talked about. But another channel brought it up, and I had to agree with her. So anyway, that'll be Sunday's video. And in that video, I have some clips that are clearly, a day or two ago. So have a good Saturday, y'all.